looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly of many visitors to your backyard. It's time for Garden Heroes and Villains.
That it is, and I'm joined today with Steve Falcioni from Organic Crop Protectants. G'day, Steve.
G'day, Matt.
Now, you're going to be telling us all things about the wonderful curl grub, or the not-so-wonderful curl grub.
The not-so-wonderful curl grub, indeed.
So, for those people who don't know what a curl grub is, you might have heard of them referred to as, curl grub's probably their most common name, but a lot of older school people refer to them as cockchafers.
They do indeed, yes.
So they'll come in and say, I need help with my cockchafers, which when you're first working in a nursery always did amuse me.
Yes, bring a bit of a smile to your face.
But Steve, describe this pest.
This pest indeed, you'll find it in the soil, and it's a white or off-white colour, fat little witchetty grub type thing, curled around in a circular shape.
Yeah, so normally a sort of tail end of grey,
yeah, definitely,
peachy colour, and then
orangey head. Exactly.
And they're the larvae form of Christmas beetles, but all sorts of beetle larvae.
Exactly, black beetles you get in the lawn and other types. So
yeah, so we're not trying to eradicate them from existence, but they do become a problem if you do have them in certain situations.
Yeah, if you've got large numbers, or if you find them in potted plants. So they're the two. If it's only one or two in a garden bed, then I'm not too fussed about it.
Yeah, so if we are, say, it could be in a situation where you do have a potted plant, which you think, I've been watering it seems to be wilting. It could be a good idea to go through and have a quick explore and see if you can find any of these guys.
Exactly, because the curl grubs are feeding on the roots of the plants. So you've got a plant with a reduced root system, so can't handle the heat, wilts really quickly, stunted growth, or just outright death. So you'll see dead patches in lawns or young potted plants just dying.
Yeah, so you work with a company that produces organic chemical solutions for certain pests and diseases.
Exactly.
What do you have in your arsenal for treating the curl grub?
I'd be using it Eco Neem. It's a botanical extract from the neem tree, really effective. Water it in through the soil. When it's ingested by the curl grub, it'll cause them to stop feeding, and then they'll die.
So it's not instantaneous that you see them,
No, take a couple of days for them to die. But like I said, they'll stop feeding, so there won't be any new damage occurring.
Yeah.
And then your problem's solved.
And it's safe then if you did actually have them in the garden, you turn them out later, turning over the soil, and birds started munching on them.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about secondary poisoning issues. So it's what I love about the stuff that we do. It's just so safe.
And if you had, say, a garden bed where you want to make sure that it's getting down into those soil areas, would you advocate putting, say, a wetting agent with it?
You probably use a wetting agent beforehand so that you can ensure really good penetration when you're later on watering in the Eco Neem.
Yep, very good. Okay, and as we mentioned, you can also, obviously, when you're out and about, if you do turn over a few of them, they make great chook food, or, the birds love them.
Yeah, or just squash them.
Squash them.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd rather put them back into the food chain. I guess they become part of the food chain if they're squashed into the...
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't got chooks.
Yes.
Yeah, otherwise feed them to the chooks for sure.
Very good. Well, that's it. So do have a look. If you do have any ailing plants, or especially pot plants in your garden, do check to have you can have a little dig around, see if you can find any of the curl grubs. And as Steve mentioned, they're little white grubs with those grey tails and orange heads, and become quite a nuisance in large numbers. So if you do have an issue, you can get onto them with a bit of Eco Neem.
Eco Neem indeed.
Thanks for joining me, Steve.
My pleasure.
This is the Hortiman Show.